She struts around with that puffed-up ego because, so far, no one's had the guts to yank the rug out from under the emotional charade she calls her strong personality. And the guys? Oh, the poor suckers. Still stuck in the dark ages, thinking they've got to woo, kiss up, play nice, and send good morning texts with little flowers and hearts, like it's some secret key to her soul. The real deal? That romantic song and dance just pumps more hot air into the pride balloon of women who've never given back half of what they take. Reciprocity? Yeah, right, look it up in the dictionary. The female ego turns into a freaking empire when it runs into a weak man. Weak in that classic, pathetic way. The dude who texts again after being ghosted, who keeps pushing even when he's the punchline in her group chat screenshots, who begs for a reply like he's dying of thirst in the desert. Sweetheart, this battlefield isn't for chumps who still think persistence is key. It's for the ones who figured out that being lethal beats being a sap any day. Today's not about learning how to be cute. It's about getting surgical. It's about smashing someone else's ego with the finesse of a guy who doesn't even need to crouch to trip you up. We're not talking petty revenge here. We're talking Cold War level strategy. Silence that chokes, absence that roars, one-liners that slice deep with a smirk on the side. This video ain't for the hopeless romantics waiting on roses. It's for the ones who've clocked that ice when wielded right is an art form. It's the kind of ice that cuts, that schools, that makes any self-proclaimed queen of pride wonder where the hell she dropped her crown. Here, you'll learn to vanish like a ghost with swagger. No whining, no novels in her DMs, just a clean, calculated exit. And when she looks around and realizes you've evaporated without so much as a whiff left behind, that's when it hits her. The only guy who was actually worth a damn walked out the second she thought she'd won the game. But hold up, before we dive in, here's the part nobody likes hearing. This video's only here because someone had the saintly patience to like and subscribe. So do your bit. Not for me, for the algorithm, that little digital dictator who only serves up content if you clap like a trained seal. Hit like, subscribe, drop a thanks bro in the comments if you want to sound enlightened. Alright, enough stalling, let's get to it. Number 1, the gigantic lie behind the female ego. Let's get one thing straight. The female ego doesn't come out of the womb all blown up like a party balloon. It gets inflated with hot air from where? You guessed it, men. Every desperate glance, every ill-timed text, every emotional clown who thinks he's gotta prove his worth to get picked. Like Love some reality TV gig where she's Simon Cowell and you're auditioning with a bad dance routine. We're living in a world that's drilled into every basic chick that she's one of a kind, untouchable, a total catch even if her biggest skill is twerking on Instagram. And why does this delusion stick? Because there's always some dude ready to roll out the red carpet of his dignity. The type who wipes himself out, waits around, prays for a crumb. Like she's the grand prize and he's just some frantic nobody in the background. This so-called female ego, it's got no legs to stand on. What it's got is a cheering section. And as long as the applause keeps coming, she's out here thinking she's the Beyoncé of feelings. She figures she can ghost you, waltz back whenever, disrespect you, and still get a bouquet. Why? Because society, this excuse factory, drops lines like, she's tough because she knows her worth, or she's ignoring you because she's picky. Nah, man. Half the time, she's just poking you to see how much crap you'll eat before you gag. And when you play along, congrats, buddy. You're the jet fuel for her ego rocket. To a woman who thinks she's God's gift, a guy who's too available is just yesterday's leftovers. She can't handle being alone, but she thrives on attention. She hates uncertainty, but she blooms when she's sure you're down there on your knees, ready to serve. That's where the ego queen gets crowned. The one who doesn't love a soul, just hoards validation like it's Black Friday. She doesn't feel jack. She runs emotional power like it's a damn spreadsheet. And if you don't bail, you're stuck as another lackey bowing to the throne of bullshit she's built. Bullshit. Even she doesn't buy when she catches her own reflection. So, what's the trick to popping this overblown ego? It's not yelling, cussing, or turning into some rage guru. It's vanishing. Being the first to stop chasing, stop reacting, stop sending those essay-long texts. Her ego feeds off your feedback. Cut that off, and you've just planted a chaos bomb. What kills an inflated female ego dead? Doubt. And what breeds doubt? Silence. Disappearing without a heads up. No little messages, no sob story, just the void. When you go dark, she starts wondering if she's really all that. And then, my friend, the whole facade comes crashing down. Hard. Number 2. Why nice guys are as loved as a hey stranger text at 3 a.m. Oh, the textbook nice guy. Rolls up with flowers, heart tucked in his pocket, eyes sparkling with hope, thinking he'll get props just for not being a dick. Adorable. Too bad in the real world he's tossed aside faster than a resume typed in Comic Sans. Not because he's a creep, but because he's the opposite. He hands over everything before even checking if it's worth it. In this emotional circus society's rigged up, where a guy's value is tied to how hard to get he plays, being too eager is basically begging to get dumped. The nice guy's predictable as hell. He's that flick you've seen a million times, you know the ending before the credits roll. Always itching to please, desperate for a thumbs up, ready to grovel for the tiniest scraps of affection. The issue isn't his heart, it's his delivery. He offers himself up like love's on clearance. Take me now, 100% pure devotion, no catch. Guess what? He ends up a background character in her script. Here's the thing. The modern female ego doesn't vibe with a dude who kneels at a throne she made up. That guy turns into her emotional handyman good for holding her up when she's needy, but ditched with a I need space the second a trickier, shinier toy walks in. Truth hurts. What hooks her ego isn't the guy who loves too hard, it's the one she can't pin down. The one who ghosts when she tests him, who hits back with silence, who doesn't crack just 'cause she pouted. The nice guy? He's relegated to cool buddy, you're awesome but, or right guy, wrong time. Plot twist. There's no right time once respect's out the window. Being good doesn't cut it, especially when that goodness is wrapped in clinginess, spinelessness, and an anxiety that's straight up cringe. A woman who smells control turns into the queen of meh. When she sees you'd move mountains for her, she knows she doesn't have to lift a finger to keep you. And that's when the cold shoulder kicks in, my dude. Subtle, icy, brutal. Not because she's evil, but because you were never a chase. Just an easy win, and easy wins don't get trophies. They get forgotten. So quit thinking good vibes are enough. Love ain't a handout. A heart dumped without standards is just a welcome mat for someone else's ego. Number 3. The roots of male coldness, when love becomes armor. Let's cut to the chase. Real male coldness isn't a trend, a front, or some mental glitch. It's emotional survival. It grows out of the darkest corner of a guy's soul. That spot where he stacked up letdowns like overdue bills he never signed up for. He used to be the lovesick dope, the hopeless romantic, the giddy fool texting with his heart on blast, only to get hit with radio silence. He was the head clown in her emotional circus, over-explaining, over-giving, and, yep, over-ignored. Until one day, he snapped. Not with a meltdown or a tantrum, he just shut down, vanished, watched. And in that quiet, he turned into something else. A cold dude, precise. Done with the childish mind games of some confused wannabe. This guy doesn't yell back, he strategizes. Doesn't lash out, he moves with intent. He's not proving squat, he just is. And if you can't see it, that's your loss. His chill is just fallout from feeling too much, remembering too much, giving it all and getting a lol sticker in return. The bitterness? It doesn't turn into a shouting match. It turns into absence. A silent, screw this, that stings sharper than any rant. Now he looks at her without blinking. She throws a fit, he smirks. Not to play her, but because he's seen this rerun, knows the ending, and honestly, it's gotten old. Love's a deal now, with a non-negotiable, you give two clause. Want in? step up and earn it like you mean it. He's done tossing out emotional breadcrumbs, done chasing anyone who thinks respect's optional. He's smoked to anything that's garbage, and if she doesn't get it, that's her problem. Listen up, champ. Fed up with being her deluxe doormat? The go-to shoulder when the latest jerk bails? Then haul yourself out of that sad sack comfort zone. Stop choking down humiliation like it's affection. There's a digital book in the description ready to flip the script for you. No tears here, just gut punches and game plans. You'll learn to be the puzzle she can't solve, and if she's not into it, awesome. You'll finally figure out how to not give a damn. The world doesn't shed tears for deluded nice guys. Either you become the dude calling the shots, or you stay the sap bawling at his phone. Pick fast. Her time might be gold, but yours should be too. Number 4. Silence. The mind-blowing haymaker she never saw coming. Want to watch a woman unravel? You don't need to yell, bicker, or throw a fit. All it takes is one simple, deadly, underrated weapon: silence. Nothing shakes the female ego to its core like a guy she thought she had on a leash pulling a Houdini out of nowhere. Silence is savage because it doesn't answer back. No explanations, no drama for her to sink her teeth into. And that, my friend, is a mental hellscape for anyone hooked on control. When you quit replying, quit chasing, quit groveling like some intern on probation, she hears the sound of her own emptiness for the first time. And guess what? Her ego's got no clue how to deal. Silence turns into a mirror, and the reflection ain't pretty. Suddenly, doubts she never knew she had creep in. Is he over it? Is there someone else? Did he finally clock that I'm not all that? Every unanswered question's a shot of venom right to the heart of her bloated ego. That spoiled little beast, the female ego, can't live without attention, certainty, control, and silence. It rips all that away with a killer grace. It yanks the game out of her grip. No stage, no crowd. Without a spotlight, the diva's got no lines. The guy who owns silence doesn't need to scream, block, or play kiddie games. He just fades out, cool as hell, no fuss, gone like he was never there. And what happens next? His absence haunts her like a ghost. Every text that doesn't ping is a knife twist. Every blank phone check ramps up the freakout. Silence is the ultimate taunt. It kills without a trace. It's winning without a fight, stirring up a hurricane while standing still. While she's losing sleep trying to crack the case, the guy who zipped his lips knows he's already won. Not with noise, but with the fade out. Silence is the language of the high value. The ones who don't beg for answers, who know that when you vanish, masks slip and the truth spills out. If she thought she had you on lock, she's about to taste the bitter sting of emotional powerlessness. It always ends like this. She only gets how much silence matters when it's bouncing around in her own ego's echo chamber. And in that echo, she finally hears the sound of her own defeat. Number 5, reactions that unravel the female ego, or how to win without even playing. What sends the female ego curling up into a ball? Not a wordy rant, not a blowout, and sure as hell not whining for love. It's surgical ice. Her ego's all about the show. It craves a crowd, some drama, you losing it like a needy teen. She'll prod just to see if you still bleed. And if you do, congrats, you're still her emotional lapdog. But the lethal guy? He's cracked the code. He knows reacting is signing up to be her emotional doormat. That snapping back in anger is like tossing gas on a fire and wondering why you're toast. So he picks a different lane, indifference dressed up as chill, a smackdown without lifting a finger. She pokes at you. You hit her with a "we're cool" in that tone that says you're already over even wanting to argue. She tries the jealousy card. You grin like you're watching a rerun of the evening news bored out of your skull. She drops a, "You've changed?" You fire back, "I grew up" code for, "And I'm done being a sucker." These aren't just lines, they're laser-guided missiles aimed at the puffed-up ego of someone banking on you crumbling. Weak guys bark, strong guys jab, lethal guys, they ignore. The new emotional flex is not giving a damn. That's when the tables flip. You're not groveling, not clawing her back. You're above it. You're the guy she can't twist anymore, and that tears apart any story where she's the star. She wanted a scene. She got silence. Wanted a fight. She got awkward peace. Wanted tears. She got a shrug. And that's when her ego starts imploding. She's facing a dude who doesn't beg, doesn't explain, and worst of all, doesn't circle back. You go from emotional needy to straight-up mystery. The challenge. The guy she can't crack. Nothing throws off a woman used to running the board more than realizing the pawn's now king, and he's walked off the game without a heads up. What freaks out a prideful chick isn't the guy who blows up. It's the one who smirks and strolls away like she was never a big deal. Because maybe deep down she never really was. Number 6. How to crush the female ego without a peep. Forget going toe-to-toe. Yelling, arguing, typing out a novel. That's the ego's dream fuel, a full-on spectacle. She wants the stage, the spotlight, you hollering your heartbreak in 4K. But the real knockout punch, the one that flattens her ego, lands in silence. No warning, no fuss. Not even a "why'd you do me like that?" The female ego doesn't fall to a showdown, it falls to indifference. What terrifies a woman hooked on emotional puppet strings isn't your rage. It's your exit. Your absence is the silence she can't read, the riddle she can't solve. She shoots a, "Hey, stranger." You don't even peek. She posts some dramatic shade. You don't flinch. She shows up all dolled up, fishing for a reaction. You act like you're staring at a blank wall. That, my man, stings worse than any blowout. Her ego thrives on proof you're still hooked, still buzzing, still stuck in her little game. When you go radio silent, that ego starts crumbling like a sandcastle when the tide rolls in. And the kicker? You don't have to block, delete, or kick up dust. Just make yourself untouchable, cold, distant, invisible. That's when the meltdown starts. She'll dig through old chats like a detective on a cold case. Replay every second in her head asking, "Where'd he switch up?" But she'll come up empty. You didn't bawl, didn't explain, didn't fight. You just poofed with style. And now, she's got no juicy gossip for the girls, no storyline, no chaos, just the void. In that void, her ego's screaming solo, begging for a wrap-up that's never coming. What was rock solid turns shaky. What was swagger turns into, "Oh shit, maybe I screwed up." The guy she thought she owned became the one she can't leash. Worse, the one she'll never figure out or shake off. Number 7. Lethal chill. The art of feeling without folding. Let's kill this dumb myth that being cold means you're numb. Nope. Real coldness is feeling it all. But with the self-control of a surgeon slicing open his own chest, no drugs. It's knowing she's still on your mind but not twitching a muscle. Feeling something but never letting her taste the win of a reaction. The lethal guy isn't a robot. He's a chess master. He's not a jerk, he's picky. Not checked out, he's bulletproof. His chill? It's not an act. It's a filter. A shield that only cracks for the real deal. And guess what? Most don't even rate a glance. She tries to rattle him. He watches like it's a trashy soap opera yawning. She pulls the seduce card. He sizes her up like a knockoff trying to pass for high-end. She goes full drama queen. He goes mute. Not because he's soft, but because he's got zero time for nonsense. Her ego's a reaction junkie. Wants to see if you're still raw, still rattled, still clockwork. The cold guy, he's the puzzle she can't piece together. She pushes, he slips away like smoke. The harder she grips, the clearer it gets. She's lost the wheel. And for a chick used to guys melting over a high, that's unbearable. Her flirty eyes turn into duds. Her sob story's a deleted scene. She clocks that her old tricks are toast, and that flips the switch on her ego's kryptonite, powerlessness. He doesn't bite at flattery, doesn't cave to tears, doesn't budge for a last-ditch cuddle. He's ice that doesn't need to yell to hold firm, doesn't need to dunk on her to stand tall. He just doesn't come back. Done. That's the kill shot. She's used to pulling strings, but now she's staring down a guy who doesn't need her, who doesn't budge for desperation, who doesn't blink at rehearsed lines, a guy who feels but zips it, because he's learned his heart's sacred ground, and trespassers who don't earn it just muck it up. His coldness isn't arrogance, it's a fortress, a gate that only swings for truth, action, real effort. But even then, she might have waited too long. This kind of dude doesn't send a memo when he's out, and he damn sure doesn't circle back. Number 8. The day she hits you up and finds out the game's done, for her. Took her long enough, huh? First came the practice charm, the mind games of someone who thinks they're untouchable, that calculated snub she dangled like a bargaining chip. You were there, reaching out, clinging to some shred of pride in a sea of her shade. And her? Laughing with that cocky edge, dead sure you'd crawl back the second she snapped her fingers. But time ticked on. And check this plot twist: silence turned into her punishment. Your ghosting turned into her burden. Now, at some ungodly hour, there she is, ego bruised to hell, typing "Hey stranger" like it's no big deal. But it's loaded, dripping with panic, dread, and the doubt bomb you dropped. She pegged you as just another extra in her ego's blockbuster, another throwaway crush, another fool who'd wait forever. But you had the nerve, the balls to vanish, to not reply, to fade out with flair and turn into a sore spot she can't shake. She doesn't get it, won't accept it. How's the guy who was all about her now acting like she's just another contact? The one sending swoony texts, not even glancing at hers? So she tries, reaches out, wants to feel you again. But it's not love. It's a busted ego, a grip she's lost. Too bad she's already toast. And toast hard. When she finally tracks you down, expecting the same needy schmuck, she meets a stranger. A cold one. Straight to the point. Miles away. A guy who doesn't snap at her, but doesn't engage, period. That's the real gut punch. She banked on drama and got silence. Hoped for sparks and hit a brick wall. She can pull every trick, excuses, scenes, that charm that used to work. But it's laughable now. She's face to face with the guy she had and blew it with. The one who cried and now blanks her. The one who begged and now tunes her out. What guts her ego isn't loud rejection. It's the smooth indifference, the quiet lethality of someone who's moved on. Who knows the biggest W isn't dragging her down. It's walking away without a backward glance. The day she hits you up, it clicks. You don't need to chase a soul. Now she's the one running, and you're long gone. Number 9, Faceless Payback, the life she doesn't fit into anymore. There's a moment when the best comeback isn't a shout, not a text wall, not a check out what you lost. It's total disappearance. Dead quiet. An absence that doesn't leave a note, a hint, or a scent. Faceless Payback doesn't need a crowd. It hits when you rebuild your life somewhere she's never getting an invite to. She met you raw, wide open, green, brimming with good faith and no defenses. Caught you at your lowest, knees in the dirt. Had all of you and figured that made you a pushover. Toyed with the realest thing you gave. And now, the game's flipped and she's clueless. She's stuck on the guy who used to beg, but you're something else now. Cold, locked in, out of reach. The kicker? Your new life doesn't even know her name. Real revenge isn't flexing your win. It's forgetting there was ever a fight. You're off the grid, out of the chatter, out of the nostalgia, out of the apologies. You quit name-dropping, reacting, reminiscing. And that, bro, cuts deeper than any no. Her ego wanted a big, messy finale explanations, waterworks. All she got was nada. Silence, and a guy she watches from a distance scratching her head. How'd I let this one slip? She peeks, she lurks, feels the hole, realizes the dude she thought she had locked down. Doesn't even flinch at her name now, not out of hate, out of nothing. She had it all, and blew it. Faceless Payback doesn't yell, "See what you're missing?" It whispers, "You're not part of this anymore. Your life's a VIP list now." And she didn't make the cut. You don't need to shove her away. Don't need to block. Don't need to say zip. Just keep rolling. Live with such fire that her shadow's just background noise. The ultimate slap to someone who messed with your heart is watching you walk off in silence, right when she thought she'd reel you back in. She lost you when you needed her most. Now that she's circling back, you're gone. No grudge, no warning, no longing, and definitely no encore. Number 10. The Lethal Man's Final Code. The upgraded version of a guy done being a fool. You hit a wall where you're just over it. Not over loving, over begging. Sick of chasing someone who's dodging you. Spilling your guts to someone who hears it like static. Reaching out to someone who dropped your hand like it was a hot potato. And when that penny drops, the lethal man steps up. Not the grudge holder, not the drama king. The guy who's learned silence hits harder than any scream. This dude doesn't need to flex. Doesn't want an audience. Doesn't care to sell anyone on his worth. No tears, no pleading, no excuses. He just keeps it moving. Cold as steel, sharp as a blade, deadly as a truth slapped across the face. His code's simple but cuts deep. Don't explain. If she gets you, no sorries needed. If she doesn't, she never gave a damn, and you're not here to tutor her in feelings 101. Don't lose it. Rage is a gift-wrapped win for her ego. She'll spin it to make you the bad guy. You're not the villain, you're game over. Don't revisit pain. Words are cheap. Deeds are gold. If she treated you like trash, you know your slot. Going back's just begging for round 2, and you're not that clown anymore. Don't get emotional. Feelings are a spotlight. Spotlight's a weakness. You're not an open diary, you're a vault. And she's lost the combo. Don't cheapen yourself for loneliness. Solo's got dignity. Groveling's pitiful. Stand alone. Stand tall. Don't flop into arms that only open when they see you walking away. The lethal man's no icy bot. He's a guy who loved hard, bled hard, lost hard, and learned to shield himself as the last play. He draws lines, demands action, brushes off empty talk. When the script's the same old rerun, he's out. No tracks, no take-backs. Love used to be a free-for-all. Now it's got a price tag and it's steep. Not settled with, "I've changed." Not sold on late regrets. It's earned with presence, commitment, realness. And even then, might be too damn late. Here's the lethal man's final code. He clawed through the worst and won't settle for less than the best. Anyone wanting back in better bring their A-game to deserve it. Because free rides, my friend, those days are done. Final wrap-up. The guy she slept on is now the one she can't touch. Oh, life's sweet irony. She pegged you as a mushy sap, a forever yes man, a lovesick puppy with no spine. And now she's stuck, trying to crack the silence of a dude who's flat out done being her emotional punching bag. She tested you, milked you dry, laughed at your all-in like the well of care would never run out. Ghosted you, bumped you to backup, used your vibe to juice up her ego. Thought you'd be her eternal doormat? Waiting around for her to decide you're worth it? Newsflash. You're not desperation with a pulse. You're the guy who learned that pouring loyalty into someone who can't spell respect is emotional seppuku. Then comes the twist she never saw coming. You shut up. Not with a yell, not with a soap opera, but with the slickest weapon in the emotional arsenal silence. That's the split second she got it. The dude she wrote off morphed into the one she can't reach, not with a 10-foot pole or a fancy sorry. Too late. She sees you weren't over the top, you were deep, not clingy committed, not weak human. Now she's reaping her harvest, the frosty nothing of losing someone who gave everything to a vampire who only sucked it dry. You're the lesson that stings, the no that booms louder than 1,000 fake I love yous. The game flipped and so did you, sharper, frostier, pickier. Her damage is your shield now, her doubt's your North Star. And silence? Man, silence is your power move. You're off the unconditional love clearance rack. You're top shelf now. And her? She's blacklisted from your emotional VIP list. The guy who was once a freebie is now a ghost with a mission. The one who bled feelings turned into a calculated badass. The dude she treated like her toy, he's his own damn boss now. And what's deadlier than any payback? Being untouchable to someone who swore you'd never grow the stones to bounce. Hats off, man. You didn't just fade, you leveled up. And that cuts way deeper.